It's a great pleasure to be here, and I'd like to welcome Ambassador Djalal to the podium to give you his perspective on this evening. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, peace be upon you. My name is Dino Patti Djalal. I am the new Indonesian ambassador in Washington, D.C. I arrived like 2 months ago, so I'm fresh off the boat. This is the beautiful Indonesian embassy. It's an old building, very old building. I think this used to be owned by the Walsh family, who owned the Hope Diamond. So it's quite a historic building. I wish I could get a hand on that diamond so we can pay our national debt. But this is called the President's Room, because as you see, these are photos of all the presidents, which is a bit making me nervous because I see all these presidents staring at me. Indonesian Embassy is very pleased to welcome all of you to tonight's event, and we want to commend the Global Initiative for Faith, Heal and Development for your very, very good work and your very inspiring efforts to heal the world. Let me begin why I think this is a very important event. I noticed 3 trends that are happening. First is the rising religiosity. This is true for Islam, Christianity, Hindu, Buddhist, and all the other religions. I mean, I see this in my family also. I come from a poor family. My mom worked hard and did very well. She became a modern woman, very successful, from poverty to a well-off life. But she also became closer to God. Rising religiosity, and this is a trend within Indonesia. The second trend I see is a trend of closer inter-religious cooperation. There's more outreach, more understanding between the religions, more tolerance that we see, both at the local level, national level, and at the global level. I think the term multiculturalism is actually something that is quite common today and the norm today globally, in a way that it was not really the norm 50 years ago or 100 years ago, right? So we see that trend as well. But in parallel with these 2 trends, rising religiosity and growing interfaith harmony, we also see growing intolerance, right? Now, we see this in many places. We see this in my country as well. We see this in some parts of Asia. We see this also in the United States, as we see from the events relating to the Quran and things like that. So we see these 2 positive trends that are competing with this growing intolerance that are, for one reason or another, rising up in many parts of the world, including in my own country. Which is the reason why I believe it's time for us to be more militant with parenthesis about our moderation. Now, what do I mean by it? I don't mean militant that we become extremists, but what I mean by militant is we become more jealous and more protective and more assertive in protecting our grounds as moderates across religions. I say this is important because in Indonesia what happened was we had our own 9/11 in 2002. We had the Bali bomb, all of you knew about it. And at that time, all the moderates rose up. They said, this cannot happen. They blamed the extremists and so on. But then the second bomb exploded, the third bomb exploded, the fourth bomb exploded. And there was a feeling that the militants were becoming less vocal in protecting their moderation, in speaking out their voice. And there was a feeling that the vocal minority of extremists were more active in speaking up their voice. Right? So now we're coming to a point where the moderates feel, no, we cannot let that happen. We cannot let that voice dissipate in the face of a rising case of terrorism or extremism. So the moderates are saying, let's speak up even more. Let's become even more militant, in parentheses, in protecting our moderate nature. And secondly, I think as we see the problems across the world today, what we see is not really the problem between Islam or Christianity or between certain religions and other religions. What we see is really the battle between moderates across religions and extremists across religions. Right? And in this sense, the moderate Muslims must ally and must engage with the moderate Christians and moderate Hindus and Buddhists and all across the board. So all the moderates, peace-loving faith holders must come together and push back on the voices of the extremists who are trying to steal our soul. And this is why I think what you're doing now is important, because you're not just promoting interfaith cooperation. You are actually becoming pioneers. You know? You are pioneers in the sense that you are trying to break walls and boundaries in ways that were not being pushed hard before. You know, I'm a Muslim, and there are so many times when I hear my Muslim teacher speak, he cites a lesson of what someone said so many hundred years ago, and conflict or ill feeling between some Muslim families and some Jews or some Christians hundreds of years ago. And sometimes I ask him, sir, I mean, it's a nice story what you said, stories of conflict and ill feeling and disputes, but why should that be transplanted to our generation? You know, I don't even bother with the conflict of what my grandfather did with his neighbors, but let alone what something happened so many hundred years ago in some faraway land that has little relevance to my life today. And what I said was, if we can be mesmerized with what happened so many hundred years ago in other places, why can't it be the other way around? Why can't we be the model for those people who fought so many hundred years ago? Why can't we reverse the process? Not us looking back and keeping their fight as our fight. Why can't we fix that and let our lives today be the model and the aspiration to what they aspired several centuries ago? And this is why we can see ourselves today as pioneers, you know, a different kind of pioneers. And this is why what we're doing today is important, because what you are doing essentially is evolving the technology for peace, you know. And this technology is very delicate, you know, it's very complicated, but it's there for us to discover, explore, and develop. There's no such thing as religious harmony that is too strong, believe me. Because I come from a country where I've seen places where Christians and Muslims have lived for so many hundreds of years in harmony, and overnight they become sworn enemies. Overnight. And it took so much effort to fix this and recreate that harmonious social relationship. I'm talking about the ethnic conflicts or the religious conflicts in Ambon and Maluku. These people have been living side by side, mosques and churches, for so many hundreds of years, part of the same community, speaking the same language, playing the same ground, and building the same mosques and churches. And there was one time several years ago that extreme violence engulfed them, and now we have to deal with the aftermath and promote reconciliation among them. So we have to promote this technology for peace and never take our interreligious harmony for granted. And this technology for peace can take form many ways. Interfaith dialogue, the one that you're doing now, promoting moderation, teaching our kids in school about the value harmony. I'm so glad that when I saw the homework of my nephew recently, he was in Islamic elementary school, and one of the questions that was asked by the teacher was, if your Christian neighbor has a Christmas, what do you do? And A, you go there and send a gift, or secondly, you don't go there, third and fourth. Of course the first answer is the first. But the point is, you teach these values, you inculcate these values among the young people in school, and that is part of the technology for peace. So this is what we need to do, and this is my hope as I, with so much admiration, watch you do your noble work. I hope that there will be more religiosity. I hope my mom's religiosity will also come down to me. My wife keeps complaining that I don't pray enough, and I'm working on it. But not just more religiosity, there will be more harmony and more outreach among the religious communities. One of the burdens of humanity, of the human race, is that for all these centuries, there has not been one marked by a total confluence by all the civilizations and the religions. There has not been one. But now, in the 21st century, it is possible for us to reach that condition of confluence among civilizations, one condition that had been elusive in the previous centuries. And your work is one of the giant steps that we can take to make that a reality. Thank you very much.